Welcome to the Masters of Wellness podcast, where we bridge Eastern wisdom and Western science to unlock your best self. I'm Edward Curtin with co-host Chuck. I'm going to call him the cat whisperer. I'm pretty sure the cat's going to pop up today. Welcome, Chuck. Good to see you again, buddy. Let me start with this question. What if the real reason behind your weight struggles is not food at all, but it's actually related to stress? Today, we're diving deep into emotional eating and sustainable weight release for high achievers. Our guest is Berthold Schlegel, executive wellness expert and creator of the Rampana method.
Welcome to the Masters of Wellness podcast, your ultimate path to holistic health, wellness, and success. Discover the powerful fusion of Eastern wisdom and Western science, designed to balance your mind, body, and spirit. Our channel brings you holistic wellness practices, effective strategies to boost productivity, and insights on stress reduction and active aging. Join our global community and transform your life with holistic wellness. Cheers to a healthier, happier you.
Berthold, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to see you. Now, Berthold, to set the stage for our listeners, can you just share the moment or the experience that first inspired you to help executives overcome weight challenges?
See, in my life, I did something which is called enlightenment intensive. Maybe you heard about this before. It was in the 70s a self-realization method where you ponder about Zen koans. Who am I? What am I? What is life? And what is another? And I had some realizations about that, which is very important in my story, how I developed my Rampana method. I started as a naturopathic doctor and I started doing weight reduction. I started doing this with acupuncture and powders. The weight dropped quickly, but always came back. It felt like a ping pong with the scale up and down, up and down. I still ordered them to come back after 4 weeks to check up their weight again. And if the weight stay equal, they could go. And if the weight gain, they got another treatment until the weight go down. It did not work so well. I had some, especially women, claiming I'm having hypothyrosis and I cannot lose weight. But this was not really the truth, because I could check this. I only had to check their urine, and then I see not through the story. They're still eating. You can think yourself sick. It's all here.
There's a ping pong or like a yo-yo effect where people lose weight, they gain weight, they lose weight, they gain weight, and they come to you and they make these excuses why they're maybe not getting the results that are expected. And as you said, a lot of people are secretly eating, but they're lying to you, they're lying to other people, lying to themselves.
They're lying to themselves.
Yeah, lying to themselves. What's the disconnect there? Like if someone's got a goal and they really, really want to lose weight and there's like a real pain connected to that goal, however, they still choose to lie to themselves. What is the disconnect there?
They disconnect from the pain of eating. Because what I realize is that those paramedical methods only attack the body. But the real drive was not hunger. The real drive was here. The thoughts before the food came. That's why willpower, trying it with willpower, will always collapse. You see? And that's why I say you can lose weight without being hungry and without starving and without any diet. When you understand the 3 principles and when you understand Sydney Banks, it is nothing about outside anymore. I developed my thought MTC protocol, transformation through pain. It is an executive trigger removal. That's what I do, an executive trigger removal. I'm removing triggers. You know, when you ask people who is responsible for how sad you feel, and the people say, my stepmother, she is so bad. She is responsible that I feel so much hatred. You see, outside is responsible. The food is responsible that I'm fat. It's not me. It's like looking into life through a camera. You see the grandmother click, candies, click, click, this click. That's all an illusion. That all does not exist. Just imagine a slide projector. You have a projector where you put slides in. This projector, this all works only when you put the plug in. Yeah. Then it works. There is a carousel where the slides are in, and this machine, this projector is the mind. You don't know where the power called life force is coming from, and the slides are the thoughts. Every single slide by slide are thoughts. And you have the projector is projecting to a screen, a white screen. And it depends on the slides. When the slides are jungle, beasts, animals, terrifying, you feel terrified. When the slides are beautiful holiday at the beach, you passed a girlfriend, your kids, you feel happy. Everything is fine. Yes? Your life is what you make out of it. We don't suffer from events, but from the thoughts of our hidden pain we attach to them. For example, two executives can face the same stress. One eats and one doesn't. The stress is the same. So it's not the stress. It is the thought one has before the food. It's the hidden pain converted into emotional eating. You need to catch the triggers before putting these triggers into action.
Just to understand that point very clearly, you're saying that if I'm about to eat some Haagen-Dazs ice cream, there's a moment before I eat the ice cream where there's a thought going through my mind. Is that right? And what you're saying is we need to pay attention to what that thought is the moment before we eat. It's usually a pain-related thought. Is that right?
It's a pain-related thought, but the person is not aware of this thought. The first moment is before an executive comes at 2 in the morning and wants to binge, wants to open the fridge at 2 a.m. in the morning and take the tortillas out from the fridge. It is very good to just take a relaxed seat, take a little bit a meditative approach and asking yourself, why? What do I feel now? What is the thought now? Just realizing that you have a thought and knowing from inside that you can change this thought, this helps. The binge will go away. I promise you, I experienced that over many, many years in many executives. In my Rampana weight release program, there are units in that program where I exactly explain and share and tell the people how to make a diet and how to count calories, so that everyone who wants to do that, who wants to count calories, can of course do that, but it's not needed. You see, it's not it's not needed, because how I developed the method is that I discovered that the thoughts for the food is always connected to the sensation of pain, as I said, but this pain is not the enemy. The pain is the doorway. Simply the awareness that the thought does not control you makes everything stop. Innate well-being comes into action. When you start and try to control your thought that causes the binging, this will absolutely fail. You see, this is the difference. People do avoid pain. It's natural. And they use just alcohol or other substances to avoid pain. My Kill Through Thought MTC protocol offered a different path. Pain is not numbed, it is transformed, and that is my brand. Emotional eating is eating as a drug, just like alcohol, drugs, or sex. I think you might confirm this, do you?
Yes.
It's just like a drug. And here's the difference. The Kill Thought MTC protocol requires no catharsis, no primal therapy, what I did before as a therapist, no holotropic breathing, no psychodrama. We transform pain directly in putting in another slide, a better slide. But you don't do that actively. It comes from inside out. It's not the eating that transforms. We transform the pain and fear that make the eating necessary in the first place. The first is awareness. The first is awareness. Second is the transformation of the thought, not to avoid the pain, but go through the pain. And the third is the removal of the trigger. MTC, mind, thought, and consciousness. That is the three principles. I extended the three principles to my Kill Thought protocol, which consists of awareness, consists of the transformation through reprogramming of the mind, and the third is the deep change through rediscovering of your innate well-being. You cannot mix this up with the affirmation principle. You see, in the 70 years, affirmation was very, very famous to do. But I'm not hungry anymore. I'm not hungry anymore. 15 times. I'm not hungry anymore. That is crap. That is BS. You know why? Mind is polar. Yeah? Day, night. Bright, dark. Yes, no. When you affirm yourself, all these positive things, the opposite is coming, and the opposite is coming stronger. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. No, you are hungry. Now here, grab, eat. That does not work. Three principle is different. If you don't make up something in your mind, you even don't put in another slide. No. No. You just realize what's going on, and the change will happen automatically. That's why I said before, these three: awareness, pain transformation, and thought control. It's not 3 steps. You don't sit down, meditate, and say, now I'm aware of what I'm thinking, then I'm transforming my pain, and now I'm removing that pain. No, it all happens the same. Paul was an executive, maybe 55 years old, massively overweight. He had 3 divorces. He had kids not being with him anymore, and he was alone, feeling lonely, and had a lot of pain connected with his divorce and his children not with him anymore. very successful entrepreneur, and he just craving. He did normally eat dinner at 6 p.m., but at 11 p.m. he wake up and he was hungry and he eat a lot. He opened the fridge and he was hungry and he eat. I did a little challenge with him and I said, for 3 weeks only, you just sit down and close your eyes. When you have this urge to open your fridge, you just sit down, do nothing, just watch your thoughts. And I had a session with him every week. And after 3 weeks, the urge was gone. Because he discovered himself that all the problems he had, all the pain, it was just the illusion. It was a recollection of pains of the past. And so he didn't need that anymore. And so he didn't need the binging at night anymore. This is only one example. And I have another example. This especially applied to women. I once had a client and she told me that her daughter was overweight already as a child, and as a teenager she was craving, she was locking herself into her room and eating. Then I told, and she tried 15, or she tried all kind of diets, keto, carnivore diet, whatever there exists, and it went up and down, up and down, up and down. I told my client, bring her here. I talk with her. I charge nothing. She's your daughter. I want to help her with Michael Thought MTC. And I talk with her for quite a little while. She stopped counting calories. You know, these calorie tables. I only can eat 2 pieces of bread, not anymore. Part of my program is that I tell to my clients, okay, you know naturally what to eat and how much you eat. And sometimes you are allowed to have refeed days. Then you really can do this. And this does not do any harm because the mindset has changed. First, stop fighting the food. Notice the thought that triggers the craving. Once you see, the urge automatically collapses. No diet can do that. Forget about diets. Do not try to change the thought. What I said before, reconnect with your inborn capacity of innate well-being. Every human being is having that. Don't try to control the night. Transform the day instead. Think about this. This is very deep. Executives who manage pressure differently stop reaching out for food as an escape because it's not about calories, it's about clarity.
I've never had any issues with binge eating. Where I find my challenge is I'm sensitive to gluten and dairy. So it was not really that big of a challenge when I first got sick or was diagnosed with cancer to just eliminate gluten and dairy. But
You
now
too.
I no longer have cancer, especially when I go out to events and there's food provided and there's only gluten and dairy. I've come to peace with the fact that I'm not going to make myself sick. So it's a different battle for me. So I was at a weekend event with friends and they had nothing for me to eat. So it was, do I just not eat at all, or do I just enjoy what's there and have some gluten and dairy and
Good.
just be
Good.
okay with the fact that, look, I'm not going to die because of this, but
Mhm.
my face, my nose, my eyes, they itch when that's my symptom when I eat gluten and dairy. So that's how I know my body still doesn't like it.
Chuck, the most important, I understood everything you said. The most important thought is, I don't need that to survive. Maybe this is showing what is inside of you, because that's the truth. You don't need many things to survive. This internal knowledge alone will keep you healthy.
You said you did hypnotherapy as well. Did you find that hypnotherapy was a temporary solution for people to get rid of binging? Or were you able to find that there was also proven components to being able to hypnotize somebody to eliminate things like binging?
I did as a hypnotherapist, and I dropped this completely because it is a lot of effort. They cannot do it alone. They are lacking discipline to do it alone, and they are gaining again because it's not coming from inside, It's not coming from the place of your innate well-being.
Gotcha, because it's not coming from here. When you're getting hypnotized, it's the hypnotist's voice that they're remembering.
Of course,
and
you
eventually
can
goes
make
away.
tapes. I did that. You can make tapes. My teacher in NLP was doing a lot of tapes about this, but it's not really working. It's not.
Berthold, you know why I believe you have a lot of credibility? You're not in it for the money. And I believe that because I think many people that would have done when you're doing the neurotherapy, and you mentioned that people had to keep coming back to you, keep coming back to you, keep coming back to you for sessions because they would only work for a week and they would need to come back again. That most people would just stay in that business because that's repeat business. And they were finding solutions, but it was temporary.
Awfully,
Yeah,
yes,
most people would
awfully
have
true.
stayed and made a lot of money and still convinced themselves that they were helping people, but you saw it wasn't working.
You are connecting with something in me which really also makes me angry because that is true. Because in the lockdown time, something very bad happened. A lot of coaches arise from nowhere, which has no capability, and they destroy the market completely. When I can talk about my Rampana weight release program, it is also I'm building the Rampana weight release platform. That means I give every of my clients the possibility for free email support. I'm not charging for that because my working philosophy and my life philosophy is that I want to serve. I want to give surplus amount. So my clients who wants to learn this, I'm not a therapist, I'm a teacher. I'm an innate well-being teacher. Because I'm 71 years old now. I have more than 45 years experience as a renowned therapist with a very good background. I was trained by the best people there are. That was always my policy, to learn from the best. Yes. And I'm just there to help. This is my mission. It's not about money. I fully trust when I can help someone, the money will come automatically. I don't have to fix on money.
Some really interesting stuff there, and it just shows the diverse background and depth of knowledge and experience that you have. We really are learning from a master here today. Going back to your weight release protocol again, when it comes to stress eating, what are some of the different types of people that present to you with stress eating?
Well, one is stress, the other is loneliness. The higher an executive is in his position, the lonelier he gets. This is about executives, but there are also bored people, women after pregnancy, for who know for what reason they start to binge and they are grown like this, you know. I had many of this, and I had also many of this which did not lose any weight with acupuncture and powder, but had to learn first through my care thought MPC protocol that it is only how they put their slides in. But it is also, I'm working globally with people. There's a difference also in how people binge.
What you're saying is people present to you with many different reasons for stress eating, but that doesn't change the way that they can overcome it. Doesn't matter where they're coming from, whether it's a busy executive or lonely or trauma or whatever it may be, that doesn't really matter because the same solution or the same
The reason
protocol.
is always outside it.
Right.
Remember the metaphor with the camera? It is always the outside. There must be some reason that I'm binging. There must be some reason that I'm fat. No. The reason is you. And to change starts with you in knowing that your innate well-being, that you are healthy already. Whatever you give attention to will grow. When you focus on, that's another spiritual fact, when you give attention to binging, you will binge more. This does not stop at all. When you give attention to the little tiny healthy part in you, this tiny healthy part in you will grow and will bigger. And that's why I work not with problems anymore. I work with the healthy mind. One of the early students of Sidney Banks, he has been one of the most famous Gestalt therapists in the United States. He writes a book 40 years ago. The name of the book is The Renaissance of Psychology. You don't get that anymore. That is very antique. But this is what the innate well-being process is. It does not need any cathartic methods, as I said before. Things what therapy is doing catharsis. Psychodrama is doing catharsis. Holotropic breathing, they are outrageous like this, the people not need. It's just recognizing that your innate wisdom is free of any stress.
Interesting.
Well said.
A few years ago, I went to Italy and I booked into a hotel, and the name of the hotel was called Gyrosol. And Gyrosol means sunflower. So it was actually the Sunflower Hotel. But I found the name very interesting, Gyrosol. So when you break that translation down, gyro means to rotate and sol means to the sun. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen a field of sunflowers. What happens during the day is they literally turn
They
throughout the
turn
day
to the sun.
and
That's why
face
they are named sunflower.
yeah. And like if you actually, even if you watch for half an hour or an hour, you can actually see it happening in real time. It's very beautiful and very amazing. Nature has an innate memory built inside that.
And the same, when you watch the sunflowers for half an hour, you know what you will notice? You know what you will notice in yourself? Just that, your innate well-being, your innate wisdom.
If we observe it closely and mindfully, you can see that everything in the universe has an innate ability that's built in.
You can see inside yourself.
Mm.
Because your outside is the projection of your inside.
Interesting.
When you are black and dirty and cloudy and tense inside because you have all these 180 miles per hour, you cannot see the sunflowers, how they turn their face to the sun.
For people that are watching and listening, what type of clients do you believe would benefit from your support, and where can they find you?
I primarily work with experts, but anyone is welcome to the Rampana store. They can go to my Rampana store website and they can download my free white release workbook. The first steps to stop stress-driven eating without dieting or even using willpower. And they can learn more about my Kill Thought MTC protocol there as well to stop the triggers and remove the triggers. The second part, called the Mind Reprogramming Toolkit. I have several ebooks. I designed several ebooks in there to break the cycle of self-sabotage. Because what happens a lot when someone tries weight reduction, weight loss, self-sabotage comes on. That big hammer, no, no, no. Binge, binge, binge. Continue. That's part 2 of the program, to stop this self-sabotage forever. And the third part is the deep reprogramming Rampana weight release system. It is a full training course with 35 videos, 35 audios with slides and everything to learn how and why most diets fail and what actually works. And with all this comes, and I explained that before already, the Rampana weight release platform, which includes private email support, weekly free Zoom calls for Rampana platform members.
You do a very good job, very impressive. And I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of your content. So thank you. And it's just said so eloquently by you, Berthold, that it's not about the outside, it's about the inside. And what we've probably said in this podcast a lot, and I know it's said maybe even in a different way commonly, is, don't blame your problems on others. Look inside, because if you're always looking at it, it's like someone else's fault, you're never going to work on you. So that was my big takeaway from what you're talking about.
This is the last suggestions I give to the listeners before we stop. When you ever experience such a binging attack, don't do it. Watch the thought before. Sit down like in a meditative state, close your eyes, and slow down. That helps to binge. Definitely.
Amazing. For our viewers and listeners out there, you can learn more about what we spoke about today at rampana.store. That's rampana.store. If you have any questions or stories about your own journey with stress and eating, send them in. We'd love to feature your experience in a future episode. That brings us to the end of today's episode. We've uncovered the link between stress and eating, heard Berthold's inspiring journey, and learned some practical tools to break free from old patterns. If you found today's conversation valuable, please subscribe, rate, review, and share on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and about 20 other platforms. You'll find us everywhere, Masters of Wellness Podcast. Our next episode next week is really cool. We've got a gentleman by the name of Dr. Hossein Kiat speaking about the science of longevity and the power of daily choices. Looking forward to that one, Chuck. To our viewers and listeners out there, thank you very much for joining. Have a wonderful day or evening, and see you again next week.